let the Degens cook, that's right. You know they coming through and hitting heavy. It's time to talk some Dynasty and talk some Debbie. My guys is never shook. Time to sit down and let the Degens cook. Ow!
Hello, welcome to Dynasty Degens. I am Nerd Boy, and we are covering trade talk today. I'm excited. I haven't had a trade show in years, actually. Last time I did one was when I was over with the Smash Accept guys. I think for the most part, so it's been a little bit. Tonight we have a nerd, a dog, and a dork, and I'm loving this. So I'm gonna go right to you, MadDog. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Not much, guys. Happy Thursday. I'm ready to jump into this episode and talk about some trades.
Nice. And like I said, we have a dork on the show. We have Dave at Dynasty Dork. He is all over the space. He just got back from the combine. You can catch him. I actually don't know everything that you do because you're doing a little bit of everything. But I know you're doing the fantasy trade calculator stuff, and you're doing all of their social media, and you're very tuned in to the trade world. And I thought that was a fitting show to have you on. But how you doing, man? How's everything?
Yeah, no, I love talking trades. It's really hard to keep up with the market, especially this time of year. You got all the rookie hype with the combine and the pro days, and then you have all the stuff that happens with free agency. The market's just always changing. So I appreciate the invite. Love talking trades.
Yeah, I know. I haven't had you on before, and we're always talking on DMs or whatever, and just throwing stuff back and forth. So it's good to actually have you on. I know you're a busy man, and you just told me that you have a 4-month at home. So I appreciate you taking your time and talking some trades with us. Let's get into it. Dane, you have the thread ready. Let's kick off the first trade on that thread over there. So we're going off of X thread right now. And if you guys are listening live, just drop any trade questions you have, and we'll cover those after we hit a couple of these on the thread right now.
All right, guys, here we go. Here's the first trade coming in from Dynasty D. Dynasty D receives Puka Nacua and sent away Chris Godwin and Jalen Waddle. Mike, let's hear you.
I don't even know how that is possible. That feels like it's missing a first somewhere. I just don't see those two guys, especially the assets that they are. Waddle is somebody that I mean, the promise is there. He's got the name value and everything, and he does produce, but he has a history of, coming in and out of games, and he's always in that blue tent. And I just can't trust him to really produce at wide receiver 1 numbers, especially with Tyreek still in the building. And I don't even know if that would benefit him having him leave, to be honest. Godwin, he was the wide receiver 2 for a stretch last year, but the two assets that don't equal a Puka by any means to me. Dave, how do you feel about that trade? So that's Waddle and Godwin for Puka straight up.
Yeah, I always want the best player in the deal. Waddle, he's got his, there's people behind Waddle. I think they're finally starting to slow down a little bit, but he's always been a guy that, it wasn't too long ago where he was considered a top 12 dynasty receiver. And I, got a little flack on some shows saying like, I don't like paying for someone that I can't even put him in my lineup and expect that you can't set and forget Waddle. Like he's every other week. And once Tyreek got there, the targets were very inconsistent. Tyreek's going to stay. It looks like. I know there's a little thought that he might leave. I love Godwin, but he's older, coming off of an injury. He's had other injuries in the past. Puka's he's a rising asset. Give me Puka all day in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you guys. I think Godwin coming off that injury and the way Waddle has produced in Miami, I just think they're two volatile assets, and I'll take Puka where it seems like he's progressing every single year. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like a slam dunk. Good for you, man. Congratulations on that. You know, I won't elaborate too much on it, but yeah, that was a nice trade for you.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the next one. This is from Jared. So we got a little bit of context here. 12-team superflex, start 3 wide receivers. He traded away Rashee Rice, the 109, the 209, and he received A.J. Brown and Kenneth Walker. Dave, what are you thinking on that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's with any dynasty trade, there's got to be some context. It's going to change things a little bit. He's looking to win now if he's getting AJ Brown and Ken Walker in this deal. AJ, you look at Rashee Rice, could be a suspension this year. We don't know. Could be, we don't know. 109 and 209. I like the win now side on this. AJ Brown, Ken Walker, and even if you end up moving Walker for something else, he's still a good asset. And AJ Brown is a receiver that is going to put up some points. So I like the AJ Brown, Ken Walker side.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same. As much as you think that Rashee Rice is going to come back and take that alpha role in Kansas City, you still have to wait for that. The 109, maybe if you draft it, isn't the strongest class right now that is going to equate to something that balances out that trade. I also think Kenneth Walker at Seattle is a deflated asset currently. And once we see him in that Kubiak offense, I think we're going to see his value rise again to what it was 2 seasons ago. Nerd?
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you guys. I do think that if Rashee comes back at the same level that we saw him his rookie year, it feels like a wash for AJB and Rashee. They could be like equal value. I think they are almost equal value already at this point, but there's obviously a lot more risk to Rashee Rice, and your risk tolerance is what matters, because we know AJ Brown's situation is set it, forget it currently. And then Rashee Rice's could fluctuate. We could see even another wide receiver taken in the draft over there. We could see a new tight end that's going to take over for Kelsey that gets mixed in, or, there's just so many things. And then we haven't seen him with Worthy at all. So it's just a whole different offense that he was working with from his rookie year. So there is a lot of stuff that could change, and AJ Brown's locked into that situation. So it's nice. It just depends on how you feel about Walker. So is Walker better than the 109? Probably. I mean, I think that's true. He has that same Waddle feel to me. I don't want to ever say that I can't feel good about them until I see them play a whole season. It's not like, that is a long string of issues, but, he does take some time. I'm not going to say injury prone, but like there is that risk there with him as well. So it's like, but it's an even trade for me. I think it's nice. I think the 2 or 4 or whatever it is could actually net you a decent running back if you wanted to wait on that. But yeah, if, like Dave said, if you're win now, I think you're going to get a more sure set with AJ Brown and Walker side for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a case of one team's rebuilding and one team's going for it, and that trade is relatively even to me. So on to the next one by Cowbells for Bell Cows. Can't believe I spit that one out right. All are 1.5 tight end premium, start 10, full PPR, no points per carry. So the first trade, he sent away JMO, Purcell, 202, and the 308 for London, the 304, and a projected 26th early third. Mike, what are we thinking on this one?
All right, so we got JMO, Pearsall. Are you looking at the London? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think honestly, London for me is worth that whole other side alone. And you're talking about JMO, Pearsall, 202, 308. I would take London for that entire package, but he also got a 26th third and a third this year back. Yeah, it's London. It's always going to be So we got the start 10 full PPR. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking London there pretty easily. What about you, Dave? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Pearsall is an interesting asset right now. I just recently put a post out and for Dynasty Trade Calculator, and people were like, Pearsall's too low. Pearsall's too low. And then the next comment was, what has he done to be so low? And so it's a mixed bag. Like for me, I do like Pearsall. I think he's gonna be a good player, but I kind of like Juwan Jennings at price when it comes down to those two, because people do like Pearsall, and JMO had a good bounce back year, but London, and London's been solid. And even with some Arthur Smith stank on him with some bad quarterback play, I like to see what him and Penix can cook up. So I like London again, like the best player on the side. He's clearly the best player.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm taking London. I think he's the elite asset here. Pearsall actually brought in quite a bit of chatter into our Discord a couple weeks ago after the Debo trade. So I thought it was funny that I was definitely on one of those sides that I think if you're going to trade him for a first, you can, but I would rather hold him than re-roll in this draft in a mid-second. But if you can use him like this to tier up to an elite asset, you have to do it. Second trade brought in was sent Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Baker Mayfield, Tua, and Judy, received Herbert, Ladd, and AJB. Mike, what are we thinking on this one?
I mean, it's definitely Herbert, Ladd, and AJB pretty easily for me. I think it's probably coming from a team that was QB needy, probably didn't have a second quarterback on that team, and had to really make a drastic trade to make that happen. You know, you're getting Baker and Tua. Obviously, there's some risk baked into Tua there, but you're ideally getting a two quarterback back for one, and I would say Baker, and you would think that Baker and Herbert have almost the same projection as far as fantasy points go. So you're getting another quarterback, and but I don't think I feel really good about Ladd and AJB being attached to that. You know, you're giving up two top tiered wide receivers, and the idea of giving up the two best players in that entire deal, I would have rather, figured out a way to like cut that in half and done, whatever it was, Herbert and AJB for something, obviously we're not talking about the guy that didn't send this trade in. So I guess, it is what it is. Whatever's done is done now. But yeah, it's pretty easily the Herbert and Ladd side for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, are you thinking about the same lines on this trade?
Yeah, it's an interesting double stack trade. I mean, you're getting both. Evans is older, and I just if I can find a way to get out from the Tua situation, I'm going to, because it's just last offseason, people should have been trading, using him to tier up, using him as an asset to move, because every time he gets hurt, it just depreciates the value, and Hill is tied to that. And so we saw that last year, and obviously they're going to try to assess, try to address the backups, but that's such a complicated offense where you throw a backup in there and it's too much. And so that's kind of what Tyreek Hill wanted to leave. It's because every time that Tua leaves, the mess. So if you're getting rid of, you're getting Herbert and Ladd and AJ Brown, I feel like that team just got way better. And I run the calculator website. Sometimes the value might say one thing and say, okay, just because the value's higher on one side doesn't mean it's the best part of the trade. If your team got better and this team got a lot better, I'm going to go with that side.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a slam dunk win for me. You traded, a volatile asset that is you traded away Judy, that his production that we saw last year could be short-lived depending what the Browns do moving forward, for three pieces that I think we can pretty confidently all call elite. So that just allows you flexibility for years to come on your roster. So that's a really nice trade.
Yeah, Before we get to another one there, let's cover one of these guys that are asking about trades in here. So I'm going to pull up Trent right now. So Trent's super flex start 11. He got a chain in the 109 and gave up Waddle 106, 210, and 305. For context, he also has picks 101 and 104. So we're talking a chain 109, and you gave up Waddle 106. Yeah, it's a chain for me. I don't always clearly go for the running back over. I wouldn't go running back over a wide receiver 9 times out of 10, but I think in this situation, it's pretty clearly going a chain over Waddle. Is there a 3 pick? I mean, you're tearing down 3 picks, and then yeah, I mean, I'm still going a chain in the 109. I think that's a pretty good deal all around. It probably helps whoever got that 106 to replace a chain. And then if depending on the actual rookie draft, that 106 could be pretty valuable, especially in the running back situation that he might be in. Dave, what do you think, man? What are you taking over here? It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's close because, every year around this time of the year, you have, maybe 12 or 13 players that you're like, well, they're kind of in the same tier and I'm okay to trade back. And then all of a sudden draft capital and landing spots. And you're like, okay, there's only like 4 or 5 guys I like after the first 3 picks. So hopefully that doesn't happen. We saw it, just recently, Zach Charbonnet, people were very excited about him. Then all of a sudden it goes behind Ken Walker. It's like, he's done. We'll see. I do like the running back depth in this class, and I think it's going to push back some good receivers because as much as we all preach receiver over running back, every dynasty team needs a running back, and you have to pay a tax, and that comes on draft day typically. So people will overpay for running backs, and this one he had to overpay a little bit. I think Waddle, as much as we talked about him earlier, is still a decent asset. 106 to 109, that's a pretty big jump, considering it's before the draft and we don't know what things are going to look like. But HN is he's that you have to pay premium to get him, and so you're getting the 109, getting HN, and you're giving up Waddle and some seconds. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm following suit with you guys. I think even if you want to call it 106 and Achan is a wash, I think Achan is kind of shown to be that PPR running back that we want. He is very high for me in my dynasty rankings, so I have no problem tearing off the 106 to the 109 and having to give up Waddle and 210 and 305. Now I think you can go and liquidate those other pieces, but I'm comfortably taking the Achan and the 109 side here. So that's a really good trade, Trent.
Yeah, it's all dependent on, would you take A-Chain over the 106 straight up? Is that a question that you guys feel comfortable answering? Like, you think A-Chain over 106 all around for you, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it becomes 109 for Waddle, 210, 305, and I feel like I'm taking 109 over that package personally. But so I think it's a good trade, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to that thread over there.
Yeah, we'll hop back on here. So the third trade of cowbells for bell cows was he sent Trevor Lawrence, and he received a 26 first and second, projected to be mid to late. Dave, what are you thinking about this one for Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, Lawrence he's another guy where they're not going to get rid of him anytime soon. And so I can understand moving on from T-Law, trying to but I feel like this is not a good time to sell him because you're not going to get max value. I'm going to wait a little bit. 2026 first, 2026 second, mid to late. If those are mid, I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, but it's really hard to trade. Even any top 20 starting quarterback in superflex and not, I don't know if you got much out of this. It seems to be a rebuilding team if they're trading for 2026 picks and they're trading a starting top 20 dynasty quarterback.
Yeah, I think the same. Trevor Lawrence, his value has been depreciating because it's been a frustrating time in Jacksonville for him. He might not be the prince that was promised, the generational talent that we all wanted. But I agree. I think that you could have got a little bit more out of this deal. We see Liam Cohen over there now. We see the emergence of Brian Thomas Jr. I think that there's a little bit more meat left on the bone on this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Lawrence here pretty easily. It just, even with the value of Lawrence right now, it might almost be close, when you're talking about the market in general. But we see the rise of quarterbacks all the time. There's no reason to be trading Trevor Lawrence right now at his presumed floor. And it's just, it's just not a good time. As Dave said, you just shouldn't be selling quarterbacks after an injury-plagued and down year. It's just not going to work for you. But, there's always going to be a rise. Like we might even see Mac Jones come back to life at some point in time. So it's like you got to just hold on hope and wait for it, because you see it every year. You see the Darnolds, you see the Genos, you see these guys just rise up from the ashes. I think everyone was plucking these guys off the waiver wire at some point in time, and Baker Mayfield was on the wire, and now he's getting traded for Justin Herbert and Lad McConkey and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy. You got to wait it out a little bit. You got to hold on hope. I'll never sell a quarterback super cheap. I think I bought Jared Goff for like a third one year. Like it was like the year after he just like was coming out of, I don't know what happened to him. He was injured and he just was QB 36 or something 2 years in a row. And it's just kind of how it goes, man. I would never sell a quarterback that low, but it is what it is. Maybe he had a good situation going. Maybe he had 3-4 quarterbacks and he just needed to make room on the roster, and that was probably the best deal that he could get for it. But yeah, let's go on to the next one over here.
All right. So he sent the 110 for DK Metcalf. So Dave, what are we thinking there? Acquiring DK Metcalf after that trade, I assume, for the 110.
Yeah, I mean the DK trade got all the Arthur Smith memes going. I mean, we don't know what the quarterback situation is. If they get Rodgers, okay, it's going to be good for a year maybe, and then like what's next? Do they get Rodgers and Jackson Dart or something like that? I'd feel a lot more confident in this. Arthur Smith is still calling the plays. DK and George Pickens, it's an interesting combination. I don't know. It's probably good value. I'm not really a DK guy, to be honest. Probably good value at the 110. I just hate the situation out there in Pittsburgh.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't think I'm buying anybody in that wide receiver room right now and doing it comfortably at this moment. DK has always been what he is. He does the fly route thing. It's just going to be, I made a post at some point, but it's like we're going to see, 10 go routes and then 10 fly routes in a game. So it's really just going to need a quarterback that can throw it 35, 40 yards and they'll be set it and forget it. It'll be like playing when you played Madden in like Madden 94 and you just knew that one play. It was just like the deep drop back and you were bombing it, doing the Hail Mary every play. I just feel like that's what their offense is going to look like. They just need I made a joke about Joe Milton being the quarterback, and I feel like it's gaining a little steam as the offseason goes on right now. But I think that's what you need. And I'm not buying an up in the air asset. Even with a late first, I don't feel good about it. I don't like, the idea of all the value that falls, like the year after year, we see these guys like the Lads and the BTJs falling into the late first. And every year there seems to be some valuable pieces in the late first, and everyone's like, oh, it's just the late first, and it's like, we see the late first be more valuable than the early first sometimes, the way that things unfold and the way that the draft happens. So I can't treat it like that. I think I'm probably taking the 110 there.
Yeah, I'll be taking the 110 as well. For what you guys had mentioned, DK went to Pittsburgh. I don't like the situation. Limited route tree, and I think he is kind of capped on his production where he's just going to be a wide receiver too. So give me the 110 because I have more flexibility and I think I can do a lot more with that pick. On to the last trade finally. So he sent away Josh Downs for Jerry Jeudy and Ben Sinnott. Nerd, I know you're a Sinnott and a Jeudy guy, so hit me with your opinion here.
I mean, I love Josh Downs. I really do. I love Josh Downs. Josh Downs is man, he is. I just can't. He is like Jerry Jeudy to me. He's got the footwork. He's got the route tree. He knows how to get separation, but he doesn't have a quarterback, really. So you're talking about two guys that have almost the same skill set that they don't have anybody to throw them the ball. So I mean, and we just saw that Sinnott is probably going to be on the shelf or in limited role this year. We assume that Ertz is going to come back and take over and be that consistent target. They just need that veteran leadership and that offense. I think that just really fits with them. He could be more for vibes than anything, but I think you're getting the same player back. I think Josh Downs and Jerry Jeudy are simpatico. Like they're essentially almost in the same tier for me. So I would probably take the Jeudy side just because of I do like Sinnott. I think he's definitely going to come in and take over at some point in time. And when he takes over, he's going to have a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, and he's going to be in a high-powered offense that, he probably will be a producer in fantasy. It's just, I don't know, but dude, Josh Downs could be eaten, but he didn't eat with Anthony Richardson, and Daniel Jones is no step up from that by any means. So how do you feel, Dave, on that trade?
Yeah, I just feel like there's just not a lot of upside with Downs. Like I get it, if you're in a full PPR setting, there's some floor with that, but there's not a lot of touchdown equity to go around in that offense, period. He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He doesn't do a whole lot after the catch. So Jeudy at least can do that. Yes, they're both pretty quarterback dependent, and Sinnott is just a flyer. I like Sinnott a lot. As far as a tight end, I'm not worried about having to wait till year 3. Running back, yes, I'd be worried. Tight ends pop up year 3, 4 all the time, and it's not like he's Ertz played really well, and so it's not like he's not getting snaps behind some random dude. Like Ertz and Cliff Kingsbury are boys. Kingsbury brought him over there, and Ertz is playing really well. There's no reason. So yeah, I feel like you got more upside on the other side because Jeudy, I know it was with Winston, and you're not going to get that with most of the options we have out there. Which Kenny Pickett right now is the starting quarterback, but they're going to get another quarterback, Kirk Cousins maybe, and if Kirk Cousins goes over there or Cam Ward goes over there, Judy's going to be a much better player than Downs, and then Sinnott's just a cherry on top.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, would you agree that Josh Downs is kind of fitting the mold of a Terry McLaurin or a DJ Moore right now, and he might actually be one of those guys that we say if he ever got a quarterback, he would be valuable in Dynasty, and he's probably going to sit in the end of a bench for a couple of years until they don't really have the option to replace him this year. So unless they
get Joe that's Flacco, probably too complimentary. I would say he's more like a Wan'Dale Robinson, where there's not a lot when it's empty calories. You get you get those 5 catches for 30 yards.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there's not. there's not a lot of boom to his game. He is more of a volume guy. So, all right, what do we got next, Dane? What are we cooking?
All right, so this one on the thread is from Lance. It's a non-superflex 12-man start. Sorry, what am I reading here? Non-superflex. I think he means 12 teams, start 9 PPR. Michael Pittman Jr. in a 26th third or the 202. So for me, I know that Michael Pittman Jr. has been having a rough go in Indy, just like the rest of the pass catchers with those quarterbacks. He played injured this year quite a bit. All that being said, I think that he's just one of those players in the community that we don't enjoy to have. I think he's a tough sell. He's 27. I don't know if he's just turned 27 or he's going to be 28 come season. But I will go and trade him for the 202. I think I'm fine doing that, having the flexibility and maybe resetting the clock on a receiver that can give me more upside. But yeah, for me, I'll be taking the pick on this one.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, give me the pick. By the time they figure out the quarterback situation over there, it's going to be 29-30. I'm going to take the 202, reset the clock, and take a shot. I mean, there's the running back depth and the tight ends in this class. You're still going to probably see 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks in that. If Jackson Dart makes the first round, you could end up seeing 2 or 3 quarterbacks, and it's going to push some people back. And it's 202. Maybe you get a receiver like a Luther Burden or Matthew Golden, but maybe you get Colson Loveland, and there's other assets you can get. Plus, with the 202, you could package the 202 with another player and move up. I think you'd be able to do that a lot easier than, say, Michael Pittman. If I said, hey, you get the 108, I'm trying to move up, I'm going to give you the 202, plus a player, or Michael Pittman plus a player, you're going to be like, give me the 202.
Yeah, it is definitely the 202 for me, but it just blows my mind the downward spiral that Michael Pittman has had, because man, I think 3 years ago he was going for 2 first, 3 first, it was his value was incredible. He was a 3rd round pick in dynasty startups just because of the rookie year that he had. And it's crazy. This is why we do these shows. This is why there's so many shows for dynasty out there, because the market changes and the value is always changing. And, there's always these guys like Pittmans and Deontay Johnsons that just fall flat. Pittman, he had a broken back last year, and he probably didn't get many catchable targets, but you're right. He's probably going to be 29 once he gets a quarterback. Even if he gets out of that situation, I don't know. The 202 holds a lot of value. You got a Jaden Higgins, you got Bashul Tutin, you got these guys that could climb up there and be major values in the draft, especially with Dave talking about, if Dart's the first rounder, people are going to have to take him in the first round of rookie drafts. They're going to have to, because there's so many guys thirsty for that positional avoidance out there that, you're looking for that quarterback, just like Kenny Pickett. He was taken in the first round of some of my drafts, man. It just happened because people had Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson for their quarterbacks, man. They got to have, they got to get some net value somewhere, right?
And it's rookie fever season.
Yes.
I do a lot of dynasty startup mock drafts, and I'll do a dynasty startup mock draft, and I'll use the kickers for picks, and we'll just use the picks in there. Then I'll go and do one with the players, the actual rookies. The picks always go higher. And if you do an actual startup, the picks will go higher than the rookies. And it gives you that value of okay, the 202 went at 706. What other players went in this range? Michael Pittman's not going to go in that range. And again, he might be considered a buy low, but 202, any rookie pick is that's a hot item right now. And I feel if you're going to go shopping with the 202, you come home with something better than Michael Pittman.
Yeah, absolutely. And to speak about the fall of Michael Pittman, as stated in this thread, our our dear friend Jagger May picked him up at the end of the 11th in our current startup. And I think a couple of years ago, he was a guy that we were drafting in the 4th or the 5th round, back to Nerd's point. All right.
Hold on,
we have
before
any...
you go there, we got
Perfect.
a little something here. So Jamie is talking about Fields, and I know Dave is excited to talk about Fields. I'm kind of excited to talk about Fields a little bit. I just feel like the value shift, the way that he came into the league and his journey to this, I think if the class was a little deeper, he probably wouldn't be a starter somewhere, but we knew this was coming, right? We knew that he was probably going to be starting somewhere this year just because. And even if he's just a bridge quarterback, he's a bridge quarterback and he could gain more value along the way. But he wants to know if you would trade the 111 away for Fields, straight up. What do you think, Dave?
The 111 straight up for Fields. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get some good production out of Fields this year. And, looking at the contract, the dead cap this year is 30. The dead cap 22 on 26 is 22. It goes down to 9, and they have a void year in 2027. So it looks more like a 2-year deal. Like if you look at the Sam Darnold deal, like if Sam Darnold doesn't work out this year, they could cut bait. So like, don't look at these contracts and read the headline. It says 4-year. Daniel Jones 4-year, 120 million, whatever it was. He didn't get all that. Like he ended up getting cut after 18 games. So Fields looks like he's going to be the Jets quarterback for 2 years. There's, of course, Kirk Cousins. It looked like that last year. But Fields with his rushing ability and that offense with Garrett Wilson, but really just a rushing ability and Breece Hall right there. Like he's going to be, probably top 12, top 15 quarterback next 2 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think that ceiling is electric, and you're right. It wasn't quite big bona fide starter money, but it also wasn't backup money. So he's going to get a shot here. I'd be comfortable trading away the 111 to get Fields, but I think in this situation, you have to have the discipline once he has a big game or a couple. I think you can go and sell him and maximize that value and keep fluidity on your roster. And maybe you get a more stable quarterback piece, or you can plan your process for the future.
Yeah, I think that what I alluded to before just a little while ago, that these quarterbacks are probably going to jump up into the first round, especially Jackson Dart if he's getting first round DC in the actual NFL draft. So I'm taking Fields over Dart without a second thought. With the rushing that he has, the ceiling, and I think he's just going to fit well into that system. He's got Garrett Wilson, his college roommate. So it's just like the fact that he's got these guys that he can throw to and he feels comfortable with. And I think he's just going to be welcomed into that system. And it's going to be a different story. Like, yeah, he had that bad blood in Chicago. He got moved out, and they had Russell Wilson back there, but they don't really have anybody that's going to take over for Fields. And they don't have the cap to bring in somebody like a vet that's more capable of starting over Fields. So at this point, he is locked in. Like you said, Dave, he's definitely going to play at least this year as a starter. And if he does well, then you're talking about great value at the 111 when you could have been taking Jackson Dart, who probably won't even start this year. 9 times out of 10, usually he's probably going to be, I would hope, drafted in a bridge quarterback situation, like behind Geno or somebody that he can. I mean, he wouldn't go to Oakland at that early, but there's somebody out there that might take him to be that backup to a bridge quarterback. So I like that a lot. Yeah, I'll take Fields all day for that.
There was a Fields trade in the thread, if you guys see it.
Okay, I'll get to it. I'm just trying to scroll down here. Here's another interesting one from Funky Jankets. 12-team half PPR superflex start 10. Just won the league last year and probably the favorite to win this coming year as well. So hopefully those first will be in the late range. Now I need Neighbors to get a QB and May to get a wide receiver and a functioning O-line. So to the trade.
He gave you a whole. I don't think we needed all that, but we appreciate you, Funky Jankets.
Yeah, there we go. So Funky Jenkins receives Drake May and Malik Neighbors. He sent away Rashi Rice, Jaden McMillan, 26 and 27 ones, and the 2025 207.
That's not even fair to me. But yeah, I'm taking the sure thing in Drake May and Malik Neighbors pretty easily. I would probably need the 2 firsts, and I would need Rashee Rice in a first to move Neighbors. Like, and that first would have to be guaranteed to be like mid to early. And that's just me being like, as an opening conversation, I think that's where we would have to be. So the fact that you got Drake May, who I probably would maybe not move for that whole package in a super flex league. I don't think I would feel comfortable with that just because we talked about quarterback being king. So he got a free Drake May or Malik Neighbors, however you want to pin it. I think that's just how I look at it. And that's me being high on Rashee Rice too. Dave, how you feeling on that trade?
Yeah, like I feel like he tried to sell us on it and he didn't have to. These guys were in terrible situations last year and both were really, really good. The situations will get better for both players, but if they don't, they still were really, really good in bad situations. And yeah, we always love the lottery ticket that is a late first round pick, and if you hit, and it's gold. But there's so many late first round picks that don't work out that I'd much rather. These are two extremely young assets. This is a smash. Like he crushed this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have to say into that because we know what it is. That was a great trade. Okay, on to the next one by JT Brew. It's a 14-team super flex, 1 PPR. Team is a bit old, trying to get younger. I have the 110 this year and 2 firsts next year. So he has this offer of trading away Brian Thomas Jr. and receiving Rico Dowdle, George Pickens, the 111, the 211, and the 411. And for me, if you're going into a 14-team league, I still want to take Brian Thomas because you are just trading him for pennies on the dollar right now for that package. So I'm taking Brian Thomas there comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, I would need Pickens and 2 set it, forget it, mid to early first to even question right now with BTJ's value. And that's not even like me projecting his fantasy value. It's just his current market value right now is in that turn of that second round. Like he is being picked up in startups at the 201, 202. And that's dynasty startups. He's going before guys like Drake May and even top tier. I think he's going before Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. So it's like Pickens doesn't do anything for me in this kind of trade. And then you're talking about the 111, who is we talked about those back end first being valuable. It's still not even close to me questioning it at all. And the rest is just fluff, Dowdle is in Carolina now, and then the 211, 411, all dart throws. So it's like you need a lot more to even think about trading BTJ right now for me. Dave, you feeling the same way?
Yeah. Don't do it, man. Like if you're gonna get younger, that's where you trade like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and AJ Brown, like Brian Thomas Jr. And this is like your classic, like I'll give you a couple dimes for $1. Like just throw 6 pieces at it. Like a 411 is not going to help you like get younger. Like that's just completely to scratch off dollar ticket. Like that's nothing. Brian Thomas Jr. and he's the asset that if you're going to move him, he's the kind of guy that can give you the leverage to go up and get one of the big dogs like a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. If you're going to take him and tier up, he's that much of an asset, but he's also a type of asset where like he's borderline top 5 dynasty receiver, you don't trade them.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I think that you're set on that. JT, by the way, what's up, brother? And I appreciate you. I'm in a couple leagues with him, man. He's a really good dude. So thank you for sending that trade in, but don't take that, please. Let's do. I got one over here that I'm gonna pop on, and then we're gonna hear about fast draft after this for a second. So, all right. We got Jacob LaFrance, and he has an opportunity to trade Drake London for Jameson and a potential top 3 2027 first. I don't like the idea of projecting a 2027 first right now. There's so much change in the dynasty market from year to year. You know, like I can project a first being an early first, and then that team goes on a tear. I went to the championship last year with J.K. Dobbins, Jerry Jeudy. I had Bucky Irving. I just had a glass menagerie of junk. And if you projected my team at the beginning of the year, you would have been like, he's going to last place. And I lost in the championship. I wanted to be in last place. I built my team to not do well. It just did extremely well. And sometimes that just happens, you know, like you get lucky on a couple of third and fourths and you got Puka and Bucky Irving on your team and you're like, okay, I guess I'm competing this year. So you can't project stuff like that. I mean, if it is truly a top 3 2027 first, I might do that. But I can't feel good about just saying that is going to be a top pick. The 2027 class right now looks good. Jameson Williams looked pretty good. He just lost his offensive coach. I don't know if that affects the system at all, but you know, we know what Jameson Williams is. He's a boom bust guy and he's fine for the ceiling play, but he's not a Drake London that has the floor play going. He's not going to catch 5 to 6 passes a game and give you a set amount of yardage. He's either going to give you 3 touchdowns and 80 yards or 30 yards every other game. So I don't know. How do you feel about this, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know the direction of the team. I mean, this obviously it seems like someone that's rebuilding, even though they're trading a young receiver. You're giving someone Drake London and then saying they're going to be a top 3 projected team. I mean, their team just got better by this trade. And like, if I'm going to do this trade, it's going to have to be probably a pick this year, or I want that pick next year because I think I can project that a little bit better. Plus, it's more value. Picks 3 years out, 2 years out, they're more like seconds. Like a first-round pick as far as value right now is more like a second. And so it's like Jameson Williams, we'll call it a mid-second, is what it feels like. Unless you're playing the long game, this doesn't feel like a good deal. I need something that's earlier, like a late first this year or a mid-early first next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're seeing London go into that, you know, elite receiver range. We're going to see what he's going to do with Penix this year. I would want a higher class or a higher tier of wide receiver than Jameson Williams if I'm taking a pick that far back. We don't even know if that league's going to be around in 2027. And I think it depends what that team that's sending that pick away is. If he's already moving 27s, does he have any 25s and 26s to make that team better, like Dave alluded to? Because by the year 2027, you don't know. That could be the 112 and you traded him, Drake London, for peanuts, really.
Yeah. We're going to get to a couple more trades before we sign off of here, but right now we're going to kick it to our sponsor. So we are sponsored by Fast Draft. If you guys aren't comfortable or familiar with Fast Draft, or if you can't do it in your state, I'm sorry. But if you go into Fast Draft, you sign up, you use our promo code DEGEN. So it's DEGEN. You will get a $25 deposit right off the bat in there. And it's a great opportunity. They have a bunch of different sets there. You can do all sorts of things. Right now I'm in Origin Draft. So Origin Draft is a rookie draft, and I'm getting all of these rookies before my rookie drafts on Sleeper. So I'm getting like, you know, all the portfolios of guys. Like I get the percentage of these guys and I get them at peak value. And it's a good opportunity. So we're going to hear about that opportunity right now, and then we'll get back to it.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite player profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
All right. We got one more Josh Downs trade right here that I want to touch on. First, we should get you on the player profiler now, team, man. I want you over here. I love having you on the pod. I know you're a busy man, but let's talk shop. All right, we got Josh Downs. So Josh Downs. So this is a 12-team super flex. Start 10. We get Josh Downs to 12 and the 26 second, and I give the 110. So you're pretty much going back. You get Josh Downs and you're tearing back our rounds essentially. And then you get a 26 second. I mean, I don't know, because 110 could be a pretty elite asset if you are confident in your rookie drafting and people are falling, like a Luther Burden could be at a 110, or like one of these running backs we're talking about, 4 or 5 running backs that could be going in day 2 or day 1, or what, it's just like, I don't know. I think I might take the 1. I don't know. It's even for me. So if I can't answer it right away, I can't give you a straight up for sure what I preferred. I think I want the best shot at having the premium asset. So the 110 feels closer to what I would prefer. What about you, Dave?
This is it's not enough for me to move off the pick in March. So I'm going to tell this person, hey, I appreciate it. If you want to send more, then maybe I'll think about it, but I'm going to probably hold off until the draft and we can talk then. After the draft, you'll get a better idea of where the 110 sits. Because like I said, that group could shrink. And I'm going, all right, I could get Colson Leveland, Tyler Warren, or one of these, maybe a receiver, falls down the board. I'd rather have that because I think I can get more than this. It's 212. That's a really big fallback for a pick next year in Josh Downs. Where Jamie said he's going to get 10 targets from Daniel Jones. So catch 6 of them for 25 yards like Wando Robinson does. It's not good. I'm not going to start Josh Downs. I'd rather that 110 is probably going to be a starter, and it's going to be maybe 3 bench players.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'll take the 110 here and wait until rookie draft time. When you're on the clock, I'm sure you're going to get a better offer than that. We just talked about it with the Colts wide receivers. If Downs doesn't come out and show us something, which seems like an impossible task with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones there, his value is only going to decline even more. So I'm going to hold that 110, and I'm going to try and leverage that once we see more rookie drafts come out and people are kind of starting to settle with their tiers. So yeah, that's why I'll take the 110.
Yeah, I mean, like Jamie's saying right now, I would prefer to move off a mid to late second. If you really want Josh Downs, that's probably where I have his value. There's no reason that you should be giving up a first, and having all that stuff added on, and it just doesn't make sense right now. Like Dave said, it's not the time to be selling firsts. If you want to move off a first, it's definitely going to be in 2 months, 3 months, when you have your rookie drafts and people see the videos of people catching in their sweatpants and stuff on the sidelines of Brett's facilities. It's it only improves. I remember when Pickens was making monster catches on the sidelines, he was going for 2 firsts before he even touched the field. It's just because you were looking at these incredible catches, and everyone was like, okay, he's the next Devontae Adams, and it is what it is. But let's pop a couple more from that thread, and then we'll sign out of here.
Yeah, exactly. There's quite a few to run through. So thanks everybody for commenting these trades. I found the Justin Fields one we're talking about. There is no context here, but it is DA Dynasty sends away Justin Fields, the 209, the 409, and receives a 27 first. What are you guys thinking on that one?
Hold on. Can you read that one more time?
I can. So send Justin Fields, a late second and a late fourth, and receive a 27-1.
All right. I'm typing and I'm listening to your text right now. And we're just okay. All right. So we got Justin one more time. So here we go. Justin Fields I'm trying to look it up right now.
So send Fields, send the 209 and the 409, and receive a 27-1.
I got it. I think I might take Fields here. And that's the 27 class is incredible, but everything happens in the year before and then that year as well. And you have all these guys in your mind right now of who's coming out for the 27 class, like you got the 2 top tier wide receivers, and then you have 3 or 4 quarterbacks. I mean, half of those guys could just stay for the nil money. Half of those guys might get injured the year before and then do an Ibuka, like stay for another year and totally just wait. Trevion Henderson, like everyone was like, okay, we got this monster class in 2024 with Trevion Henderson being the 101. And it's like, what happened? You don't know what's going to happen right now. That Fields is going to be the starter this year. That's what right? And if you want to win money and if you want to win the league, I think I'm probably going to take Fields on that deal, unless Fields is like my quarterback 4 or 5, whatever it is, whatever league that you have going on. I know that Dave kind of touched on that, so he might be in the same boat right there. You taking Fields on that?
Yeah, context matters. I mean, in a vacuum, yeah, selling Justin Fields with the history of Justin Fields for any first sounds like a great deal. But like, if you want to win your league and Justin Fields, you're going to get a 27 first, and you're going to get Justin Fields plus the second round pick. And I can go and put him in my, he's going to be in my lineup with, whoever my other quarterback is. Like, you got Jaden Daniels and Justin Fields, you're going to be a powerhouse next year. And so it cost me 2027 first. I'm okay with that. Like, let's go. And hopefully I can, make that pick suck as much as I can.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead, MadDog.
Yeah, I'm kind of contradicting myself on this because I told Jamie not to worry about 27-1s, but I think this is one of those trades now, depending on, like you guys said, context. If you have 2 other quarterbacks that are more viable than Justin Fields, I'm making this trade. I think, Justin Fields' value might never get as high as we once saw it in peak times, but it's sure going to sink like an anchor if he comes out and has a couple bad games. So I think when it comes to Justin Fields, I'm a little less risk adverse, and I'll take the safety of that 27-1. I think I'll just get out now.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's a guy that I actually is in my DMs a lot. We talk a lot, so I want to cover one of his trades here. So this is Trent. He had put this on the thread. We just haven't got there yet. So superflex 6-point pass TD, start 11. I got T-Law and the 101 and gave up Kyler 105 and 202. Dave, I'll let you touch on that first. What are you thinking on that?
Love it. It's a good move. I know there's T-Law is kind of, on the way down, but like Kyler didn't really do as much as we expected him to do last year. I don't think they're as far apart as the 101 and 105 are. And so the 202 doesn't close the gap for me. Getting T-Law as kind of a buy low right now and getting the 101, like I'm Yeah, the 101 is such a good asset right now. Like, not only can you go get Ashton Genty, but like you pull out a list of players and you can pretty much get you can get a lot of good players for 101 if you wanted to use that.
Yeah, I'm on that side too. I'm at the 101 because I don't look at 101 as Genty. I look at 101 as incredible value. You know, like you don't ever you shouldn't look at the 101 as a player yet. I wouldn't look at them as a player until I'm actually on the clock and I see that player when my screen lights up and it says draft and I have the opportunity to take that player. Up until then, it's just okay, it could be them. I mean, you're gonna have that first bet right there, but if you get a massive trade offer before that option comes up, you should take it. You know, like that's the opportune time to sell that 101. So, like Dave said, that 101 could be anybody. You know, it doesn't have to be Ashton Genty. It could be, you know, like I see massive trades. I see people tearing down and getting the 104 for, you know, 3 or 4 startable guys. You know, it could change your entire roster by making that move. So, and Kyler and T Law are pretty close. I don't, you know, Kyler has the rushing ability, but Kyler also has some red flags when it comes to, you know, being consistent and staying healthy and really just like, you know, having that steady value because he is up and down a little bit. As much as I like Kyler being a value right now, I think T Law's in that same boat. And I think they can give you the same amount of fantasy points. So really you're tearing down from the 101 or sorry, tearing up to the 101 for the 202. And it's easy money for me. How you feel, Dave? Dave, excuse me.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. You know, whether you're going to select with that 101 or you're going to trade it for a haul, you're going to transform your roster. So Trent, I think this is a really good trade again.
Yeah. I mean, really good trade talk in general. Good show all around. I'm sorry if I couldn't get into any of your trades there. We had quite the thread, and you know, I don't want to keep Dave too long from his family, man. So I appreciate you so much, Dave. I appreciate you jumping on. Can you drop any content you have coming up or anything that you have cooking that you want to get out to the people?
Yeah, DMs are always open. I got full access to the trade calculator. So hit me up in my DMs or via the trade calculator. I run a lot of price check threads to try to get kind of what the public consensus value is. So if you have a player, you're like, hey, what is the value for Justin Fields? Like, I'll throw it up there. I'll throw some threads out. So, yeah, just Dynasty Dorks on X, at Dynasty Dorks on TikTok. Hit me up.
Yeah. So Dave runs the Dynasty Trade Calculator app over there and runs it on X. So if you're contacting the Dynasty Trade account, you're probably talking to Dave more times than not, you know. So he's great with value. He's great at understanding trades. He sees 100 a day, I'm sure. So it's like, you know, he's definitely a great mind to pick if you have any trade questions or concerns or anything like that. Dane, you got anything to add in before we get out of here?
No, man, this was just a great show, and I was happy to have Dave on. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. You can hit me up in my DMs as well. I'm always in the Discord. And don't forget to go jump on Fast Draft and use that promo code DGen.
Yeah, definitely do that. And if you guys aren't in our Discord, it's open to the public and it is free. So we have all of the trade advice you need. We have a bunch of startups. We have rookie drafts. We have everything that you can imagine to set you up for your actual drafts in your home leagues or whatever it is. If you do want to get in the Discord, just drop me a DM on the Degens X page, or you can actually just get me myself on X as well, and I'll send that link over to you. And then tomorrow we are dropping the Rookie Profiler series. So I sat down with my buddy Jagger, and we covered who did we cover? Travis Hunter. Excuse me.
Hunter.
So we covered Travis Hunter. Sorry, I'm doing 3 shows in a day right now, so I don't even know what I'm covering anymore. So yeah, we have Travis Hunter dropping tomorrow on Player Profiler Now YouTube, and then also over on X and Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. And once again, at Dynasty Dorks, if you're not following him, definitely go check him out. I appreciate you so much for joining us, Dave, and we will catch you guys next week.